minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, four, three, two, one. Begin transmission.
Broadcasting from the heart of the nation, the next generation in conservative talk radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Oh, yes, it is. What is up, my friends? Welcome into it. It is a Friday. You finally made it to the end of the week. It is the greatest day of the entire week, so welcome aboard. Pat yourself on the back. You scream, I scream, we all scream. For a Monday, the 3-day countdown begins, right? That's what we do here on the show. Why? Because we are the eternal optimists, and we are ready to carpe diem all over this place. There's no rest for the weary, especially with this ongoing battle of crazy in the world. Welcome into the show. It's great to have you, as always, broadcasting out of the heart of the nation in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station. And we are all over the country with so many great radio stations doing our thing.
Do it live!
Like we do every single day here on the show. We have a bigly one lined up for you today, right?
And I think we're going to make it bigly.
Yeah, Jacob Bradfield, our good friend Jake Bradfield over at Red State Spirits. He'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk politics, some current events. We'll talk the youth of America, the young generation, and why they're going towards socialism. Also, some speculation on the 2028 presidential race. I have seen that there are some new polls out showing that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez...
I am told this is a garbage disposal.
Yeah, that she is now the front runner for the Democrats. And it's kind of weird. I don't know why. There was this random Polymarket poll that showed that all of a sudden between like her and J.D. Vance, that all of a sudden she went from really low to all of a sudden shooting up above J.D. Vance. I don't know where they got that from or who they polled, but apparently that was a, let's find someone in the most obscure blue district in the country that's run by a bunch of Democrat socialists, and let's see what they think between J.D. Vance and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So we'll have some fun with that speculation coming up at the bottom of the hour, and the idea of free markets. Can we get back to the idea of true, real, laissez-faire, free market capitalism? Getting rid of the crony capitalism and getting away from big government. So we'll do all that and have some fun at the bottom of the hour to wrap up your week with us here on the program. There's a lot to cover as well. There's some interesting news coming out of Nashville, Tennessee, as we are starting off the fall school semester. But first, before we do that,
what's trending today?
I want to go here, but I do not want to spend a lot of time here because, to be honest, I sat here. I was in the studio. For those that don't know, I'm not just an on-air host. I have a lot of other duties. I am in this radio studio almost 10 hours a day because I have a lot of other duties outside of that with the company that I work for here in Wichita, Kansas. And as I was sitting here doing my daily duties behind the scenes on the radio broadcasting scene, I was listening to a particular debate that was going on today. And it was quite frustrating, number one. Also, number two, for the Ute out there with some of the terminology they use, it was quite triggering to some degree, because there is a reason that you distance yourself away from people that are absolute true sociopathic narcissists. That even when you catch them in the middle of a lie as it's happening in real time, they will never admit that they're wrong. They will always find a way to get out of it, and they'll find a way to turn it back on you. And I've had a lot of people in my life that have done that. In fact, there are many people that I do not associate with in my life at all because of those types of scenarios, particularly members of family, which is really unfortunate. Not to get too personal there, but what I saw today was that after you've experienced it and you've lived through something like that and you've walked away from it, you can spot it from a mile away. What I saw today with the debate between Andrew Wilson and Candace Owens, absolute insanity, man. Absolute insanity. And look, you have the right to think whatever you want to, you have the right to feel however you want to, and you have the right to listen to whatever program or talking head that you want to out there. That's why we have the beauty of, freedom of expression, and why we have so many great platforms out there: TV, podcasting, radio, newspaper, blogging, letter writing, whatever you want. You can do whatever. But I highly and strongly encourage you that if you follow particular hosts, which I hope one of the reasons why you follow this program is because the arguments that we make on this show hopefully are not only somewhat semi-entertaining for you to listen to and be like, oh, that's an interesting perspective, but also somewhat based on reality, somewhat based on fact. And you may not agree with my facts, you may not agree with the stance I take on issues, but at least hopefully, for the most part, I can come with my arson loaded to say, this is why I believe what I believe, and this is why I stand on a position because of X, Y, and Z. What we saw today, and I'm sure some people will be like, Andy, how dare you? Candace Owens is the most narcissistic, sociopathic nut I have ever seen in my life. Everything she did in that entire it was a 4-hour-long debate. I listened to about 2 hours of it as it was running behind the scenes while I was working on other things. No evidence on anything, like actual hard evidence, that would even lead her to come to the conclusions that she came to. She has feelings. She just creates a scenario of like, well, this is happening over here. And for those that don't know, by the way, what I'm talking about, they did a debate because of obviously the ongoing assault that Candace Owens has done regarding the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which we're unfortunately coming up to about the 1-year anniversary of here, I think relatively soon. And with that right around the corner, and the case of Tyler Robinson going through the court system right now, she's come up with a lot of theories that Israel's behind it, that France is behind it, that Egypt is behind it, that Turning Point USA is behind it, that Erica Kirk is behind it, that her own government's behind it. I mean, she's thrown everything out there, and she plays the game of I feel and I think. And then you put together this little scenario over here, and you're like, well, there's no actual evidence to link the two stories, but you can speculate. And it's led to a lot of people to kind of go along with it and believe all these conspiracies more so than the actual evidence that's at hand. You can question things, you can challenge things, totally fine. It's in the court of law, and hopefully we can see all the evidence come out when it actually goes to trial. But so far, Candace Owens had a lot of speculative theories out there. Andrew Wilson, if you don't know who he is, and again, I don't want to spend a lot of time because this is kind of angering and stupid. And, for a lot of us that were traumatized by the death of Charlie Kirk, there's a lot of PTSD here. But Andrew Wilson, I don't know a lot about him. I've seen him on other podcasts. I've seen him on Joe Rogan's podcast. He's a professional debater. That's what he does. And he goes to places and he teaches people how to formally and properly debate, how to put together a case, how to make your argument, how to pick apart somebody else's argument. That's what he does, and he's very good at it. And it was easy for him to pick apart the case of Candace Owens because, well, there isn't a case for her at all. And if it's out of 4 hours, here's what I'll do. I'll sum it up for you in about a 20-second clip, a minute and 20 seconds. The entire clip. This will sum up the entire 4 hours of what we just heard today.
No, I said, here's what I think.
I have every right to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if there's positive evidence for your claim.
In this statement, I literally just said, I think, and I am allowed to think. And
you're allowed to think, but you're making a claim.
I have tons of positive evidence that I'm allowed to think.
I agree. You're allowed to think.
Okay. So,
nobody's disputing whether or not Candace Owens is allowed to think. What I'm asking is
but
you have
what's your issue then? What is your issue with the statement?
Evidence.
I think that Israel is involved.
That's not just what you said. You said
I did say
it's with full confidence.
Yes. That
you would think that if you had full
Can you have confidence
confidence
to think when you think?
If I said, for instance, I think I'm going to be late to work, right, with full confidence, I would say my evidence for that is that I'm 20 minutes away and I need to be there in 5.
Andrew,
that's how you would know whether or not you had full
I'm just going
confidence.
to tell you something.
Hang on, let me finish.
Sure.
If it was the case that I said I have full confidence I'm going to be late to work, I would say my evidence that I'm going to be is that work is 20 minutes away, right, and I have to be there in 5. So I have full confidence. That's why I would think that. So I'm asking, if you think that Israel and France were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you say with full confidence, I'm just asking for the evidence, or at least walk me through the mindset of why it is that you could think that with evidence.
I actually don't have to walk you through why I think.
All right. So look, I mean, that's the frustration that we went up for 4 hours. I give him major props for going through that. Again, that is truly, when you have experienced this, you've gone through it, that is to a T what narcissism looks like. I'm allowed to think whatever I want to. Yeah, you're allowed to think whatever you want to. How did you get to that point to where that's what you think? Well, I don't have to express that to you. You don't know, but a lot of people, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people listen to the Candace Owens podcast about what she thinks. And if she's going to lead people into thinking a particular way, usually you would present it with evidence. Usually you would present it with more information about why you think the way you think. But to her, when you get called out on it, then you're like, no, I'm allowed to think the way I want to, and you don't have to challenge me otherwise. Like, that's a true sign of a complete narcissist, a complete sociopath, and it's really getting my blood boiling. It's really kind of stupid. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. There you go. If you watched it, all the power to you. Major props to Andrew Wilson for suffering through 4 hours of that one, man. I applaud you. The lack of cognitive and analytical thinking in society is why we're in the state that we are as a nation right now. That is why we have children coming out of public education that don't know how to do critical thinking. That is why we have an entire generation that believes that socialism somehow is going to be the best, because they didn't analytically get to that feeling. They just feel that that's the way we need to go because it's different from what we're doing, and the grass is always greener on the other side. And the powers that be, the deep states, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it, the shadow government, the powers that be trying to influence you to believe that way, are really sucking it up, man. And they are loving the fact that we're going down that road because of the lack of cognitive thinking. That leads me to the topic of the day.
What's trending today?
And I want to go to Nashville, Tennessee for just a moment as we start off the new school year. Now, I don't know if this happened this year already. I can't imagine, because we're just like days into the new school year. So maybe this was in the past. And it says, according to this headline from WSMV.com, the station locally in the Metro Nashville area, 2 former Metro Nashville teachers. So this must have been in the past, but now it's coming to light as we start a new school year, that 2 former Metro Nashville teachers say that administrators within the school district directed them and told them to change a failing grade for a student because the parents told them to do so. And in fact, one of those teachers went to the school board and said this.
District leaders asked me to fabricate grades for a parent who sat in the office for hours until her daughter's failing grades were changed. It creates false entitlement. What happens when these kids lie, cheat, and cry their way through school and end up as future doctors, police, or politicians? When will you protect the future of our society? That same parent has harassed over 30 teachers. Teachers have filed police reports, and entire school districts have had, or entire schools have had restraining orders against her. Yet she's still allowed on school property, showing up to field trips her child didn't earn, and filming other students. When will you stop prioritizing parents' feelings over the safety of our teachers and our students? I heard you also mention that we're closing gaps in teacher vacancies. I want the public to know that many of those are filled with uncertified teachers. The news reports that behavioral issues are down. They are not. We are simply banned from reporting them, forcing us to keep disruptive students in the classroom. Statistics are being skewed to protect the district, not our children. Our children cannot read and write. They cannot do basic math. And we spend 40 hours a week with these students, so we know them better than the district and those fake numbers.
Wow. All right. So apparently, according to this teacher, there was a parent that sat in the office of the school for hours on end until they got their kids' grades actually changed. Now, I don't know the specific situation, but I would assume as a parent, if I got a grade, if I got a scorecard from my child at the end of the year and it was a failing grade, question for you as a parent, as a grandparent, as a legal guardian of a child today, or have been in the past. If you get that grade card and you see a failing grade, What is your response to that? Do you go to the school and you're like, what the heck, man? Why is my kid failing this class? Why are you giving them a failing grade and I am not leaving until you make them actually pass? Is that your response? Or is the response turning to the kid and you're like, WTF, yo? Like, what is this? What did you do? Why are you not passing this class? Why didn't you turn in your homework? Were you not grasping the issue? Did you not talk to the class and to the teacher to try and get more information and to better understand? Were you failing tests? Were you just not showing up to class? Were you not doing all your homework? What's the deal and why do we see this failing grade? As a semi-responsible parent, I would think that we would choose the latter. But I think this is more of a cultural issue to where we're not just seeing the school system fail us because of maybe the curriculum that we're pushing, but the parents themselves that apparently are more angry at the schools for not giving their kids a passing grade than wondering why their kids aren't
This
passing.
is the voice of reason with Andy Hoosier.
When America builds, the world follows. Our energy powered the 20th century. We've set the standard for generations, and we never waited for permission. But now, we're being held back. Outdated rules, endless delays. Without permitting reform, Washington's red tape is slowing us down while other nations race ahead. It doesn't have to be this way. We can clear the way for energy that's affordable, reliable, and built right here. Because what's built here is felt here. Lower costs, more jobs, stronger communities. That's what permitting reform makes possible. Energy didn't just shape our country, it powered the American dream. And with our innovation, we can lead the 21st century. Congress has a choice. Build America's energy future or risk falling behind. Tell Congress, pass permitting reform now.
Ready to take your health back? At Hoosier Health, we empower you with holistic options. From natural hormone support to targeted pain management, our handcrafted herbal products are designed to complement your wellness journey safely and effectively. With organic, easy-to-understand ingredients, you can trust in the quality and freshness of every product. Rediscover powerful forgotten herbs. Visit HoosierHealth.com and take the first step toward empowerment today.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The end of summer is here. And while you're enjoying that last family barbecue and trip to the lake, it's time that you stock up on your favorite beverages with Red State Spirits. Embrace that true American spirit with your True American Bourbon, True American Vodka, their gin, or their rum. And right now, for my listeners only, get a 4-pack of that True American Bourbon, use the promo code REASON at checkout, and get free shipping. Go ahead and share it with your family and friends and stock up for that summertime blowout. Go to redstatespirits.com and use the promo code REASON. That's redstatespirits.com. Must be 21 years or older. Please drink responsibly.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? How did two guys in a cramped California garage reimagine the phone? We put the power of the universe at our fingertips. At Americans for Prosperity, we believe greatness can happen anywhere. We just need freedom and the opportunity to make it real. But today, with a rigid system stifling progress, limiting creativity, and holding us back. That's why at AFP, we offer solutions that tackle the most critical challenges facing our country, so there's nothing standing in the way of America's next breakthrough. Because what we build today doesn't just shape the future, it defines it. How will you be defined? Take your first step today with Americans for Prosperity.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason.
Making common sense great again. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Common sense, reason, rationale. It's what we do on this program. And apparently cognitive thinking, which is something very difficult for some to have today. Which, look, I guess I can't say much. Look, Candace Owens has a way larger online platform than we do here on this program. Maybe not on the radio airwaves, because she's not on the radio. And with all the great affiliates we have across the country, I'm pretty sure we can compete with that. But at the same time, online, I mean, look, people listen to her. But does that show a sign of you can do whatever you want to, you can say whatever you want to, but people being so easily led astray just because of a feeling as opposed to actual evidence? Look, I'm good for a great conspiracy. And if she would come on, and if people like that would come on and say, I feel because, or, ooh, what about? And you just start thinking about that way. And then you just clarify, like, there's no evidence to support that whatsoever, but it's an interesting theory. Then you can put it in that box to be like, oh, that's neat. And then you set it aside. But that's not what they do. And I think as we talk about this issue in Nashville, Tennessee, with the teacher and the parents that are just telling the school, you have to change my kid's grade and I'm not leaving until you actually do, that's probably leading to that type of mindset, right? I mean, we have parents that are now, and we've talked about it. I love the argument that there's been this latest conversation from other shows lately of the parents that are showing up to interviews with their kids after college and during college and internships for them to vouch for them and actually show up in the interview. We've been talking about that for years. I mean, we really enjoy that cultural conversation. The parents that have gone well beyond just the helicopter parenting, trying to do everything for the kid, but they call it the snowplow parenting. Or the snowplow parenting, you essentially just do everything for your child because you want to keep them in this little bubble. I'm assuming, could be wrong, this is just my logical thinking here, that those individuals that have had everything done for them and have never had to make a tough choice in their life and have never had to experience anything in their life are probably the ones that are like, oh yeah, that sounds great, and go along with people like Candace Owens. I could be wrong there, but kind of crazy. I want to tell you about my friends over at Americans for Prosperity. As you know, we're moving through the affordability agenda. Congress is now in recess for the next month, and they are on the campaign trail talking to you in your district while they're doing their town hall meetings, while they're knocking on the doors, and while they're making their pitch to get reelected in your district. Show them the affordability plan. Very easy to do so. AmericansForProsperity.org/affordability. They are America's largest grassroots organization, and they're working with you and I and every American out there to make sure that affordability is priority number one. Permitting reform, energy dominance, tax cuts, deregulation, healthcare reform, and so much more. And you can be part of that movement. Go to AmericansForProsperity.org/affordability, and let's help bring in the golden age of America with our friends over at AFP. All right, so we have now, what do we do about a district that would actually cave to a parent that allows them to change the grade on an issue? Now, again, this is speculative, and according to WSMV, they say for context of this story, according to emails that were obtained by the TV station, that investigations, the principals, not teachers, have the authority to grade disputes in the Metro Nashville Public School District. So if the principals, the superintendents, the higher-ups, the bureaucrats are telling teachers to change grades, either because they feel it's right or just because they want the parents off their back, how does that help advance society? How does that help a child actually learn the tools they need to actually survive moving forward or to go to the next grade? I mean, we have failing grades, and the teacher that we played with the clip when she gave her testimony in front of the public school board, that she said, we have failing grades. These kids cannot read, they cannot write, they cannot do basic mathematics, and in fact, I would think the school districts themselves would want, if there are lower grades, for the average to be a little bit lower, because under like the No Child Left Behind that we pushed under George Bush and some of these other policies we've done through the years, that if you do really bad, then you get more money. And that's what they want. In fact, they've tried to lower their medium incomes in certain districts around the country so they can get more money and more freebies and more programs. And they like to lower the grades to say, hey, we're not doing well. We need more cash and more dough to actually make this happen. So I think they would fight a little bit more against this. This is kind of interesting. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Our votes are not enough. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but does something about it, as they're America's only Christian conservative wireless carrier, and they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes that we actually care about. And now, just for my listeners, get free activation with offer code REASON. Again, go to patriotmobile.com and use promo code REASON for free activation. That's patriotmobile.com, user code REASON.
Miss any part of the show? Well, don't worry. Now's your chance to go find the podcast and listen to as much of the Voice of Reason as you'd like. As the show continues to grow all across the nation with great radio affiliates, we also continue to grow as one of the top conservative podcasts, ranked 5th on the MillionPodcast.com Best 50 Conservative Leadership Podcasts in the nation, and number 1 on FeedSpot.com's 30 Best Conservative Talk Shows in the country. The show continues to grow each and every day. Just find us on any of your favorite podcasting sites at The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
It's America's political therapist. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Well, I was interested because I couldn't think of another example where you actually had a Democratic candidate who was down at least 4 points in a Senate poll in Michigan. And it turns out for this entire century, Abdul Assad is the only one in a poll that meets CNN standards for publication. This is extremely unusual. Abdul Assad breaking records in the ways that you don't want to. In fact, he is the first Democrat down by this much, as I said, in a century since 1994.
Wow. Okay, so that's CNN. So apparently CNN now has high standards. I found that kind of interesting. But but nonetheless, latest poll, now that Abdul El-Sayed, after doing his campaign, we played the audio yesterday, apparently with him trying to appeal to his voters by voting early like Blue's Clues, because that's the mentality of the left, apparently, that now he's starting off on this race 4 points down going into the general election. The first true test of the Democratic Socialists of America. How well that one's going to work out, it doesn't sound like.
Say what?
I'm just saying, it doesn't sound like he's starting off on a really good it's a really good track record with that one. That being said, let's shift gears and let's go to our next guest on the program. We threw a lot out today. It is a Friday. And let's have some fun. Let's speculate and let's break down some of the stuff that we've talked about as we go to our...
Let's go to the Red State Spirits hotline.
That's right. Our friends over at Red State Spirits, redstatespirits.com. Make sure to use that promo code REASON and get that free shipping and embrace that true American spirit. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Coming up on Labor Day weekend, you might want to stock up now before that final hoorah before the summertime. And to talk with us, our great friends over at Red State Spirits, the man himself, Jake Bradfield, back with us here. Jake, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, living the dream. And yes, stock up. It's coming quick. We're getting orders faster than we can fill them, which is fantastic.
That is always great news. I love to hear that one for sure. I want to talk to you today because obviously being a business owner, being a small business owner yourself, I got to get pick the brain from the free market side of things, the enterprise that we have in this nation, the ability to actually do what we want to, creating a business, growing a business, the opportunity that we very rarely get in other nations around the world. We talked about this education system. We've talked about helicopter parenting. We've talked about this young generation overwhelmingly beginning to move towards the idea of accepting socialism as a new norm in society. Jake, what does this do to the free markets here in the country, and why in the world do you think we're seeing this young generation think that this is a reasonable alternative for the country?
All right. Well, hey, given the audience we got here, I'm going to answer that inversely, right? Why do kids think that way, in my humble opinion, for whatever that's worth, and then what consequences it has? Because I feel like actually as free market capitalists and conservatives, we generally speak about the consequences often, right? But it doesn't come across to the audience that needs to hear it, unfortunately. Yeah. What do I mean by that? So like, why are the kids thinking that socialism is so good? I mean, what did they don't remember the Soviet Union? They don't know how to read, so they don't understand how Venezuela turned out the way that it did, or they just don't want to believe that other command-directed or centralized-directed economies like Iran are failing. I don't, that's a negative view of it, and I guess that's possible. But I think there might be another aspect to it that particularly we, again, the capitalists in the room, have to acknowledge is that we are not conveying the positives of capitalism to the audience that needs to hear it when they need to hear it. What do I mean by that? Like, it's not just in college. We love to focus on college because that's when everyone goes off and gets wild, and the professors tend to be a little out there. And it very much starts in grammar school, as you were just talking about. But we're allowing leftists who disagree with capitalism to constantly point the finger at the capitalists for all the problems in the world, right? Or any problem they think, real or perceived, is happening. It's that guy's fault over there. It's that rich guy's fault. If only there were less of them, then you would have more. But we aren't coming back with other arguments. We tend to just say, yeah, look how well that's worked for you historically. And then we scoff it and we move it on. Well, I mean, we were all 16, 17 at one point. How much did history matter to you when you were 16? It should have, but let's be real. For most of us, it didn't.
Yeah, most of us it did. I was a dork. I enjoyed that. But yeah, most people, most normal people, they would not care as much about it.
I mean, I think that's a pretty natural thing. You were an exception, obviously. You had into history, you got the hair, you got all the things going. But for most of their life experience isn't long enough for history to register much, right?
Right.
And so instead of, I think, us constantly bashing on what capitalism isn't, or correction, on what communism doesn't do for you, we should be telling kids in school, at home, around the dinner table, at business, on TV, all the places. We should be telling them what capitalism does for you, why it allows you. You own your own labor. You have the individual freedom. You get the ability to profit from your own fruits of your labor. The freedom to choose these things. This is unique to a system that allows you to do it. And you want that. You want that because it allows you to be you, right? However, whatever that means, which could be you the trillionaire or, you the pennyheir, I guess, depending upon the decisions that you make.
Yeah. It's a really great point because you're right. We go negative, which negative obviously for elections, that turns people out to the polls to where we always see these negative campaigns for sure. But you're right. The fear mongering of socialism and communism isn't working. In fact, there was the new poll that we just saw this past week or so that showed that the term of socialism and communism has less of a negative connotation than what it had in the past. So using the fear-mongering of they're all communists coming for us doesn't quite resonate with people quite as much. And maybe it's because we've used the term too much and it's been watered down. Same thing with the other side when they use Nazi or fascist or racist or everything else, that it just doesn't have the same meaning as what it used to. So instead of fear-mongering about what communism, like you said, doesn't do for us, we need to promote the idea of capitalism. And I got to be honest, Jake, with the world that we're in today, with what we like to call the crony capitalism. It's not a true free market capitalist system any longer. You see it as a business with the red tape, the regulation, the licensing, the stamping of approval the government gives you to allow you the privilege of actually running and owning a business. We don't really have true free capitalism, and maybe that's why they don't understand really what capitalism can do for them.
I mean, I think you're nailed two different points there. One is an education piece. And I know everyone loves to harp on education, right? It's never perfect. It's never right. It's never how you want it to be. Yep, never has been. I presume probably never will be. But generally speaking, it's hard to educate, right? There's too much. There's just not enough hours in the day to teach someone everything that you think they should know. But our basic economic literacy about what these terms even mean is allowing them to be thrown around incorrectly. Right? They'll say things like capitalism is just a bunch of monopolies. Well, no, monopolies are created because of government regulation that's inherently anti-capitalist. Right? If a monopoly is enabled via the government, then a capitalist system would allow a competitor to undercut their prices and provide a better service or product, and then kick them out. Right? That's what the free market system would do. But if you inject that cronyism in there, right, or the excessive government regulation trying to protect their friends, you don't get capitalism. And so, but not knowing those definitions, that certainly does it harbors or hurts the discussion. Right?
Yeah.
It does make it harder to talk. Makes it much easier to talk past each other.
Sure.
But to your other point, what can it do for us? Is that we need to be able to. How do I say this? The kids need to understand that the work that they're putting in should be and has value. But it doesn't have value just because you worked hard. It has value because you produced something that was unique, creative, ingenuitive, efficient, whatever it was. And the output is what matters, not the effort. That kind of every kid gets a trophy piece. That's another aspect of this that I think maybe has fallen in. Is we've fallen into this over decades, and we might have seen it in sports early in the 90s when all of a sudden everyone started getting the trophy, right?
Well, and now like we see today, like what we just saw with a parent going to a school and saying, you better change the grade for my kid because I want them to pass. I mean, we had the helicopter parenting. We had the snowplow parenting out there. I mean, they don't put the effort. They don't even have to put the effort in, apparently, for some, and they should still get a passing grade because they showed up and had the hoodie on and slept in class in the corner all day long and was still able to pass. I mean, if we're not challenging the kids to prepare them for that success and realize unless you put in the work and you actually do more than somebody else, then you're not going to stand out and get that job that you want later on. You're not setting them up for a potential capitalist system, right?
I mean, that's true. But we also have to allow young adults to make the decisions that they have to live with.
Sure.
And now I'm not saying we need to cut them off and kick them to the curb, right? We were all young and did dumb things. God knows I did. And if I did not have good mentors and strong figures in my life that had figuratively speaking, kicked me back into reality, I would have, I very well could have ended up in a very different place. But we do need to allow the system to let successes succeed and failures fail. Now, it doesn't mean that failure forever, right? But these young adults are going to make decisions. Those decisions are going to impact the things in their life. And if the parents keep stepping in like this, I don't know the details of this particular story. You mentioned that at the top. I know you didn't either. But if the parent snowplows everything out of their way, eventually that kid's going to get steamrolled by competition anyways, because they don't bring anything to the table. Right. So life's going to hit that kid one way or the other. It's just, do you want it to hit them when they're 15 and you still have lots of time to recover? Or do you want it to hit them when they're 35 and they've got children in the, in the system already, and there's no recovery, right? They'll never make it out economically out of the hole that they're digging themselves. I would say we want to teach kids young. We want to allow them to fail early, young, and fail small while it still is inconsequential.
Yeah.
Versus letting them get to be 30, 40, 50 years old and then realize, oh man, my entire life was based on how the government was going to take care of me and Social Security was always going to be there. And guess what? It ain't.
Yeah, well, no, that is very true. I don't think my generation is going to see a whole lot of Social Security by the time that I get to that retirement age. So better start planning now for that one. But you're right. I mean, look, the wisest words that anybody always says out there, and some of the motivational speakers that are out in the world saying that the best successes are the failures that you learn from and you can move forward with thereafter by learning what you did wrong to pick yourself up and actually keep going. And the best words of Rocky, you can keep getting hit down over and over, but it's not about getting hit. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about getting hit and getting back up, which is interesting for sure. Jake, hang on the line. Got to take a hard break here. Jake Bradfield, Red State Spirits, redstatespirits.com, our great partners right here on the program. We got one more segment for your Friday to wrap things up. Stay here.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
It's time you diversify your retirement savings with gold, silver, and precious metal IRAs. Andy Hoosier here for Revelation Gold Group. They're based on Christian values of integrity, stewardship, and trust as they help personalize guidance to help you explore alternatives to the traditional stock market investment. Discover how precious metals can help strengthen your retirement strategy with Revelation Gold Group. Go check out their website today that's just for my listeners only at HoosierMetals.com. That's HOOSER metals.com. Go check them out today.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Switch today and get 1 month of service absolutely free by going to patriotmobile.com/reason. The end of summer is here, and while you're enjoying that last family barbecue and trip to the lake, it's time that you stock up on your favorite beverages with Red State Spirits. Embrace that true American spirit with your True American Bourbon, True American Vodka, their gin, or their rum. And right now, for my listeners only, get a 4-pack of that True American Bourbon, use the promo code REASON at checkout, and get free shipping. Go ahead and share it with your family and friends and stock up for that summertime blowout. Go to redstatespirits.com and use the promo code REASON. That's redstatespirits.com. Must be 21 years or older. Please drink responsibly.
What fuels the freedom to dream bigger? Our country's greatest breakthroughs were born from bold ideas and the ability to take one small step forward. At Americans for Prosperity, freedom and opportunity find their defenders. Because our country's next giant leap is just around the corner. Are you ready to step up?
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy the Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hoosier Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HoosierReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HoosierReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hoosier Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosier-holics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hoosier Media Network. Find out more information online at HoosierReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
This segment of the Voice of Reason brought to you by Hoosier Health. For your holistic health remedies, find more online at HoosierHealth.com.
All right, welcome back into the program. Great to have you here, wrapping things up for your Friday, setting that tone for the weekend. Make sure to join us for our weekend broadcast as well. Yes, we are live on the weekends, and yes, we do cover things before anybody else on the weekends, which is why we're here. Because we have dedicated ourselves, apparently, to just being the information givers constantly. Which, by the way, we do have some really exciting information. I cannot say anything yet, but we have some exciting information coming up on that here relatively soon. We are hanging out with our friends over at Red State Spirits, redstatespirits.com. Again, Labor Day weekend right around the corner. The last summer hoorah. Stock up now. Go to redstatespirits.com. They have all of their great true American spirits. You must be 21 years or older. Please drink responsibly. Use our promo code REASON and get that free shipping with your true American bourbon. And right now we're hanging out with Jake Bradfield with Red State Spirits. By the way, we are, and this fits right into the conversation we're having here, Jake, headline from Fox News happening. Luigi Mangione, the guy who killed the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, has officially pled guilty in federal court to stalking and killing of CEO Brian Thompson because of the progressives that were angry at the evil healthcare system for denying people of healthcare coverage, denying them of claims, and so on and so forth. Again, you talk about crony capitalism and capitalism. If we had a true free market capitalist system, we wouldn't have Obamacare, right, Jake? We wouldn't have the government subsidizing health insurance companies where they fight to keep the subsidies, but they're mad that the health insurance companies are for profit. Try to explain that one to me. How can we hate them if we want to give them more money?
I mean, if I had an answer for that one, I wouldn't be sitting here right now, I can assure you. If explain the efficiency of the government, the DMV mixed with the great decisions that we always make. You put that together into healthcare. I don't see how it could fail. And obviously that's sarcasm if you didn't hear it, because I don't. That was never meant to work, but that's probably a whole nother discussion. But I mean, it does affect the little guy right now. I mean, you're looking, again, people are saying, hey, why is this guy talking to me? He's just some sort of liquor producer. Yeah, it's true. I am just some sort of liquor producer. However, the consequences of these actions hurt us. They don't hurt the big guys nearly as much, although it does hurt them as well. But I mean, it keeps us from hiring employees. It keeps us from bringing people on. Yeah. It forces us to use subcontractors when we'd rather have them as employees because of the burdensome regulation, not just in the alcohol industry or any particular industry that you claim, although they all have their own gems. But when you add it all on there, every one of those pieces of paper, that 5 seconds adds up, and it becomes hours, and then days, and then months. And before you know it, it's easier to just not. And now a real person who really had skills, could put them to use, making a good product that people want, doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
And that's the consequence of it. And I don't think we see that enough.
Yeah, it's a really great point. Look, I mean, it seems like while we try to represent small business in Washington, D.C., that we have a very lack of representation of actual small business in D.C. because we put these regulations in, these taxes in, these licensing in, this regulation in, and it squeezes these small businesses out. If they can survive it, then they can be successful. If they don't, then it just consolidates more of the market into the select few that are able to actually control it. And, by the way, work with government for the regulations that benefit them moving forward. And that leads to, we got a couple minutes left here. J.D. Vance spoke about this on Fox News about why there's so many going towards socialism in the younger generation, feeling left out, feeling frustrated, feeling like they don't have the ability to actually create a business or create their piece of the pie. And this is what he said about that.
And my warning to my fellow Republicans, Will, would be if we don't get this right, don't blame young people for being sympathetic to socialism. We've got to blame ourselves. And I think what is so unique and refreshing about Donald Trump's economic policies is that it's not the same old economic, ideas that you would have heard 30, 40 years ago. He's talking about rebuilding our industrial base, rebuilding the heartland, making our streets safer, making it possible for young people to afford to buy a home. This is how you stop socialism.
So, I mean, Jake, in about 30 seconds as we wrap up, is that the way we go? We just lead and show by example? Or how do we actually win them back?
I mean, we have to show by example. But don't try to beat the left at its game to get government more involved in your life.
Yeah.
Right? Beat the system the underlying system by getting government out of your life so that you can prosper. You are an inherently creative, amazing being, right? Whether you were formed in the image of God, whoever you call God, and all that, right? That starts getting kind of spiritual. But in the end, don't discount yourself. And if we have a system that inherently discounts you for the benefit of others, that's a problem.
Yeah. It's a big
we
problem.
got to show what we can do. Get out there and do great things. You really can.
Lead by
example. Being a mayor, I can.
That's it. Lead by example. Hit that reset button in society and force the change back to free markets. And then when we see the benefits from that, they'll be like, gee, this is actually working out pretty well. Jake Bradfield, RedStateSpirits.com. Go and check him out, Jake. We always appreciate it, brother. Have a great weekend. Let's get you back on and do it again soon.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody.
Always a pleasure. We love those guys. Love partnering with them. We'll see you back here for the weekend and on Monday right here on The Voice of Reason. We'll see you on the radio. Bye.
For too long, Washington has said no to builders, workers, and American families, and yes to bureaucracy, delay, and special interests. Let's flip that. Say yes to building more housing, and no to government mandates that block it. Yes to permitting American energy, and no to endless red tape. Yes to putting patients in charge of healthcare, and no to letting insurance companies call